Welcome to another episode of Sports and Discourse with your host, Derek Stevenson. And on today's episode, I want to talk about Michigan transfer Hunter Dickinson. And he made his decision finally. I know a lot of people were getting a little annoyed with it because they felt like it was being drug out way too long. But he finally made his decision. He is going to Kansas. And I want to talk about some of the reasons why I personally feel like he may have chose Kansas over Kentucky. Now, I hate to admit this, but the rumors that I'm hearing, and you guys, are always welcome to let me know what you heard or if you heard differently. I heard that Kentucky just wasn't offering the NIL money, and that's kind of what he was looking for. And the situation is just getting more tricky by the day. On the one hand, I understand the message that Kentucky is trying to sell to the kids, right? Because from what I was hearing, Calipari, when he talks to a lot of his recruits, he sells them on the idea of what they're going to make in the future after attending his program at Kentucky. And we got to be honest. I mean, basically, he's creating guys that have the potential to, become billionaires at some point. I think Karl Anthony Towns may have grossed, or after his last contract, he may have grossed $500 million. Even some of the guys that aren't as fortunate as Towns, even guys like Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, he signed a $52 million contract. So Calipari is selling these guys on the idea that he is going to train them to be a professional basketball player with the opportunity to make hundreds of millions of dollars. And up until this point, the majority of his kids have achieved a massive amount of financial success. The only problem with that is there's some kids that it doesn't work out for, and then there's some kids that, it could go up and down. Like, for instance, I'll take Malik Monk, for example. When I seen Malik Monk in high school, I immediately knew he was going to be a professional athlete. He came to Kentucky. He did his job. He was drafted in the lottery. I think he was, if I remember correctly, I think he might have been the 7th pick or somewhere like in the 7th to the 14 range. I can't remember exactly. You guys will have to let me know. But the problem was he was drafted to the Charlotte Hornets, and they just was guard heavy at the time. So he really didn't get a chance to develop. He didn't get a chance to play. And that could have really had a major effect on his career. Fortunately for him, he was able to take a veteran's minimum contract, sign with the Lakers, and show a little bit of development, a little bit of growth in his game. And he was able to sign with the Sacramento Kings. So fortunately for him, he's probably going to eventually get a nice size contract. But it doesn't always work out like that for everybody. And I think the thing is, nowadays, most college kids, they want money. And I can't necessarily blame them, because let's say you're a Hunter Dickinson, and you go and you talk to Kentucky, and Kentucky is selling you that you play at Kentucky and in 5 years, you'll have $100 million. Well, a lot can happen in 5 years. So it's not really a guarantee. More than likely, if you're successful at Kentucky, you will get $100 million in 5 years. But there's always a chance that it may not work out like that. So it'd be really hard if I was a college athlete for me to really consider Kentucky when you got a Kansas that's saying, well, we can set up these deals for you and you can make $2 million while you're here, or you can make $500,000 this year, or whatever the case may be. Because you don't want to be like the top coveted free agent, so to speak. We might as well start calling them free agents, because basically they go into the highest bidders and different things like that when they enter the transfer portal. So we're going to call them free agents for the time being. So when you're the top free agent and you see other guys around you getting money, you just automatically feel like, well, you should be getting some too, no matter what. If you feel like the number 10th ranked free agent in the portal is getting 500,000 and you number 1, you feel like you should be getting $1 million. So I could see where it's going to be difficult moving forward if Kentucky stays in this mentality of we just going to sell the future. We're going to sell you a dream, so to speak. And like I said, a lot of the dreams have come true. A lot of Kentucky's players, whether they win championships at Kentucky or in the NBA, who knows? That's always, it could go either way. But one thing that we can say for certain is the majority of them do achieve a lot of money. They get a lot of success. They get a lot of opportunities that a lot of the other schools can't really necessarily say. We're going to start seeing a few more Duke athletes start to get hundreds of millions of dollars. But realistically, all the other big schools may have one or two guys that's getting that type of money, but Kentucky seems to have a lot of players. I can go through the list. We got Tyler Hero, we got Bam, we got Jamal Murray, we got AD, we got Towns. Jared Vanderbilt is probably going to get a big contract after playing with the Lakers. Tyrese Maxey probably going to get a big contract. It's just so many guys. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. It's just so many guys that Julius Randle that are going to be able to say that they was filthy rich from coming to Kentucky. John Wall, obviously, he was making $50 million to just set out. So Kentucky guys are getting the money. But it's just hard to sell a kid that you just got to wait for it when you see everybody else getting it. If you see guys riding around campus and they in sports cars or, they got nice watches or whatever the case may be, it just be hard for you to be sitting there and not be having the same type of, same type of resources or the same type of money as you see other players getting. And it's even started to cause some problems within some programs. Like we seen last year, Tennessee football's program. Apparently, there was a rumor that they had a fight over guys discussing NIL money. Quarterback ended up breaking one of the linebackers' jaws, allegedly. And basically, they threw their season away because at that time, I think they was the number one ranked team in the country. And the rumor that I heard was South Carolina's defense just they was angry at the quarterback and they just came out and didn't try. And or Tennessee's defense, I'm sorry. And then South Carolina hung 63 on him and basically washed the season away. So you're just going to see everything start to become about the money now. And unfortunately, Kentucky, while they still are going to have that tradition that they can use to sell their program, they're going to have to start backing it up with more than just the name on the front. They're going to have to start saying, hey, come to Kentucky. It's still one of the best, if not the best program in the nation. But we are going to still give you some money too, because otherwise kids are just going to look other places, because nowadays, you see kids going all over the place like Gigi Jackson with the South Carolina. You'll just start to see slowly but surely guys just floating to schools that you would never think that they would go to. It's not going to just be the Kentuckys, the Dukes, the North Carolinas, and the Kansas getting all the kids. It's going to be the guys that's going to pay the most money. You're going to have Miami getting in the fold. Miami showed this year, they ended up getting their team to the Final Four. They showed if you pay the kids, you could potentially buy you a chance to win a national championship. And Kentucky's going to just have to start doing that, man. Yeah. So, unfortunately for us, I did hear that was basically kind of what, made Hunter a little unsure about Kentucky. But whatever the case may be, we just got to move on. Hopefully, Oscar Sheway may come back, or we can snag somebody else. There's a couple of other kids that Kentucky's looking at. I'm gonna probably do some profiles on them later today, and hopefully have some videos coming out about them in the next couple of days. But yeah, we still working on this roster, man. I think we just lost Lance Ware today to the transfer portal. So yeah, Kentucky still got his work cut out for it for next season. We got the core, obviously, the guys by now. Bradshaw, Edwards, Reed Shepard, Dillingham, DJ, we got Onyenzo, Thero. But we still got some work to do to round it all out. So we'll try to figure this thing out. But anyways, you guys let me know, how do you feel about Hunter Dickinson's decision to go to Kansas over Kentucky? And what do you think the reasons were? Do you agree with what I said, or do you think it was other reasons? Whatever the case may be, just let me know, and we'll get back at it next time on Sports and Discourse with Derek Stevenson.